In this video, we'll be finding the equation of a sinusoid. Our directions are find the equation of the sinusoid shown, give as a sine function and as a cosine function. Now some things that you'll notice here is that first of all our variable, our independent variable is theta. We have our sinusoid equally spaced between -1 and 7. Observe that this horizontal line is not the y equals 0 line because it's centered equally between -1 and 7. We can see that that total space there is 8, which means that if we go half of that, which is 4 down from 7 is 3. This is actually the y equals 3 line. And you can check yourself. If you go 4 down from 3, you'll get to -1. So this is actually the center line for our sinusoid, and it is at y equals 3. So let's first do our sine function. The basic equation would be y equals a sine b times the quantity theta minus c, and then plus d. Now we already said that d was our center line, and since we're moving our entire graph up 3 units, the d is going to be 3, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that there. Also, we said that our amplitude was 4, so I'm going to put my 4 here for A. Now for us to do a sine curve, I need to find where it crosses the center line, the closest one. So it would be here at -225. It crosses that center line and heads upward as we move to the right. And we also cross the center line here at 315. But -225 is the closest one to our y-axis. So we'll use that as our starting point for our sine curve, which means that our c value is going to be, since it's left 225, I'm going to need plus 225 here for the c value. And then the only thing left to do now is find b. Now remember, b is our period. The equation is period equals 360 over b. And it would be 2 pi over b if we were working in radians. So we can find our period by taking two identical points. Let's go ahead and take our starting point here, and then one period would be ending here at 315. So what we need to do is find out how many degrees are between these 2 points. So if I take my largest number, 315, and subtract the smallest number, which is a -225, you can see that this is actually plus here. So 315 plus 225 is 540. So my period is 540. So I'm going to put 540 here, and I need to find the b value that goes in my equation. So I just need to solve. Let's multiply both sides by b. B's will cancel here. So I have b times 540 equals 360. And then divide both sides by 540. So b is equal to 36 over 54 reduces to 2/3. So my b value is 2/3. So this is my sine curve with a positive coefficient here for the a. Now if I wanted to do a negative coefficient, I could use this as my starting point because it's at the center line and it's heading downward. And nothing else would change here. All I would do is I would use a -4, so y equals -4, and then sine 2/3. But now the phase shift, or the angle where I'm starting, is right 45. So I would have theta minus 45 for my phase shift. So this would also be another sine equation. Now if I want to do a cosine equation, this is my starting point that's closest to the y-axis. Let's go ahead and everything would stay the same. I'd have a positive a value, and then cosine 2/3. My angle that represents the phase shift, since it's -90 here, I would have to have theta plus 90, and then everything else is the same. So this is my cosine equation. And then we could also do a negative coefficient for my cosine function. And let me write that. And if I did that, I would have to start at the minimum value. So I would have a phase angle, since this is at a positive 180, this would be theta minus 180. So we have 4 different ways that we could write an equation for this sinusoid.